Yo, wake up. This is your neighborhood sensei Fouché, and I always begin my shows by first strongly suggesting before emphatically imploring for all of you beautiful, wonderful, self-loving, worthy individuals to stay woke. Don't let them put you to sleep. But in the process, make sure you take all necessary meditative practices and procedures, including environmental change when and if necessary, to relax. And always, always, always be prepared to take those notes. It is August 20th, 2026. Here in these states of America, it is 6:08 p.m. in the early evening. We are covering this wonderful novel, document, self-help book by Mr. Eric Robertson titled Control Your Mind and Master Your Feelings. And we are going to go into the third link of Breaking the Chain in chapter 7, which is minimize your surroundings. One thing a lot of people have trouble with doing is letting go. Not only of things that no longer hold value or use in your life, but people. And that includes old friends and family members. You hoard and hold on to these people and things of clutter and frustration as if, they still are important. But those things and people being around always seems to disagree with you. And they always seem to clutter you. And make you feel crowded. There's no space for you to breathe or to live. You know what I'm saying? Like everything around you is just overwhelming and collapsing on top of you. And you have too many things that are unnecessary, and you haven't learned, or you're not brave enough or take the time to address these things, go through them and get rid of them. Get rid of the things you don't need. Get rid of the people that you no longer have to have. They no longer service or hold value for your life and your comfortability. They make you most uncomfortable than more comfortable, or most comfortable. They make you more uncomfortable than most comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's like you still have your favorite old shoes that are, crusty. They all folded up. You know what I'm saying? They just look extremely worn out. They hurt when you walk and wear them. They have slight tears or marks or scuffs. But they're your favorite shoes. But then you don't look good in them. They look ugly. You don't look comfortable when you walk with them, and you still choose to wear them. Or how about another analogy or example of an old relationship, long gone, never coming back again. And you still have these love letters, these cards, or even in your phone, you still have the thread of all the messages that you exchanged between one another. remembering the love that you had, which no longer is going to be, because you can't go back when it came to the mistakes that created the separation. And that person, I'm sure, in more probability, is not trying to hold on to the memories of you, but you are making it your point to hold on to the memories of them. And it's probably a guilty conscience that you're holding on to because of the things that you did, and you know the type of person you still are, and that's why you still hold on to those things and you can't let go of those feelings. But aside from that, let's move into our moment of reading and get clarified into this information a whole lot more concentrated. So again, chapter 7, break the third chain, minimize your surroundings. Oftentimes, what holds our minds back from thinking rationally is all the clutter we keep in our homes. A busy home makes for a busy mind. This is because even though you're not consciously aware of the clutter, even the slightest bit of junk lying around can make your subconscious mind think too much. For example, have you ever had a super busy day and you didn't get done all that you wanted to get done? Finally, you sit down to relax and see the table beside your couch cluttered with magazines, cords, books, clothes, or little trinkets just lying there. And if you don't attack the problem sooner than later, the problem is going to continue to sit there, and all you are going to do is be frustrated, angry, and complain about these things that you choose by choice to neglect and not do anything about. Then you sigh and think, I was meaning to deal with that. You quickly let go of the thought because you are so tired from your day, but now it's on your mind, taking up subconscious space. It's always there, so it's always going to be on your mind pretty much every single day whenever you're around that environment or in that immediate area of problem. Now, you totally forget the next day, and as you are eating dinner with your family, you see in the kitchen closet a bunch of trinkets lying around, creating another mess to worry about. Then you think, oh, I will just close the door, but when you open that closet again, you are reminded once again of your cluttered space and mind by incessant mess you can't seem to get a handle on. Or what some people do is they'll move the mess from one place to another only for them to complain about that same mess in another area that they don't come across or are involved in that often. But it's still there. And they chose to keep it. They just moved it to another place. It's almost like you have dirt, and instead of sweep it up and dump the dirt inside of the garbage can, you just sweep it under the rug and then just call it a day. The truth of the matter is that over time, people accumulate more than they need and stuff they are never going to use again. They keep things because they are either too lazy to deal with it, don't have enough time, and I always say you choose not to have enough time because the time is always available in different moments. You just never make it a point to do it because lazy thinking and lazy being is your preference of who you are. So they keep these things because they are either too lazy to deal with it again, don't have enough time, or have this false belief that one day they will use it, and that day never comes. I mean, right now I'm holding on to a Nintendo Switch, and I bought it more for my daughter and her friends because realistically, I haven't played video games regularly since 2000. And that's before I left New York City. Once I left New York City and I moved to Atlanta, I was bouncing around so much and my life was so busy and unsettled that I got out of that whole, gamer thing. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything before we move forward. All right, there we go. Minimalism is about living with only the necessities. And this is how I choose to live these days. You know what I'm saying? I really don't hold on to things too much. I'm easy to get rid of things. You know what I'm saying? And I really have a lesson that was learned from my uncle. You know what I'm saying? My mother's brother. And that's her only sibling. But he was someone that was a hoarder. And when he was going through some health issues, I had to move him out of his home into my home. And when I was packing and moving his home, there was so much junk. And that's when I realized the danger of hoarding. That was my biggest lesson on hoarding, was trying to help someone that is closely related to me. So minimalism is about living with only the necessities. People, when they hear the word minimalism, they think they have to rid their lives of all they have accumulated and gained to live with very little. And this is not true. Everyone knows what is the most important things in their lives. And so it is up to them to deal with and get rid of the unnecessary things. For example, when we look at one room at a time, we can start to see which is important and needed and which is not. So, for the kitchen, most people may have 7 bowls, 7 plates, 7 cups, 10 knives, forks, spoons, and a truckload of plastics and trinkets they don't need. And I'm going to add to-go sauce packets, because that was something my uncle did. Collect all of these sauce packets to where you have an overwhelming abundance of these sauce packets that you're not going to use. If you have a family of 4, you should only need 4 of everything, plus 1 or 2 extras. When it comes to plastics, sort out which have lids and which don't. And I know I very much don't like not having matching lids to containers. When I see that happening, I get rid of the entire collage of unmatched items and replace them with all matched items. When it comes to plastics, sort out which have lids and which don't. The unnecessary plastic containers are just taking up space that could be used for other things. So recycle those. Once we go through each of our rooms in our homes and rid ourselves of the extra baggage that we have carried around, we can finally start to say that we are living the minimalist lifestyle. Now we're going to cover some benefits to minimalism. And before that, let me take another sip of water, because staying hydrated is important. Did you know that clutter can greatly affect your mental health? For argument's sake, let's just say all of your overthinking had a large impact on the way that you were living, the way your house is cluttered. And all it took was to go through and rid your home of all the things that weren't necessary or held no purpose to you, and that was the answer to fix your overthinking. Clutter in our physical surroundings has been linked to mental illness for decades, and that's because we have accumulated all these things that hold triggers or distractions to us. Remember, hold triggers or distractions to us. Living as a minimalist gives you the opportunity to throw out all those things that aren't, or my fault, living as a minimalist gives you the opportunity to throw out all those things that are unnecessary and also the old memories that you don't want to keep anymore. So don't be afraid. Go through your whole house because now is the time to downsize. Here are just a few reasons minimalism is super beneficial to your health. 1. Peace of mind. Having a cluttered space makes our minds overstimulated, which keeps our minds busy and results in overthinking. When we try to meditate, I almost said mediate. Again, when we try to meditate or be mindful, overstimulation of our surroundings can make us have great difficulty focusing. Someone who is prone to schizophrenic episodes can be triggered by having too much stuff in their immediate physical surroundings. A minimalist lifestyle will decrease these episodes and help bring on concentration and peace of mind. And we're going to read this section again. 1. Peace of mind. Having a cluttered space makes our minds overstimulated, which keeps our minds busy and results in overthinking. When we try to meditate or be mindful, overstimulation of our surroundings can make us have great difficulty focusing. Someone who is prone to schizophrenic episodes can be triggered by having too much stuff in their immediate physical surroundings. A minimalist lifestyle will decrease these episodes and help bring on concentration and peace of mind. 2. Self-discovery. Instead of looking at getting rid of your things as a bad thing, or that you may be losing a big part of your life, look at it like you are actually finding yourself. This happens by getting rid of things you have maybe packed around for years that have no importance to you. You may feel enlightened about who you were when you had these things to who you are now, which results in self-discovery. Brings focus, and this is number 3, brings focus to what is most important. As things start to slowly disappear, the things you are not using and don't need, your mind will be able to focus on the things you now need more. And let me go through this again. As things start to slowly disappear, the things you are not using and don't need, your mind will be able to focus on things you now need more of and also what you could or should be doing. Aren't you tired of spending countless hours cleaning clutter that always ends up in the same place anyways? With all the extra space from ridding you of things you don't need, you will be able to replace the space with things you do need. Also, your mind will feel freer because you will see as you remove clutter from your physical surroundings. You will also be removing worry and distraction from your mind. With more space in your home, you will be able to focus your mind on doing things that are most important, like starting a hobby or hosting events at your place. This will bring a sense of accomplishment. because you're no longer embarrassed by your very messy environment and people making mention of that. So now when people come over, you feel more comfortable and they feel most agreeable, your company that is, within that environment. 4, more space to slow down and relax. The more your living space is decluttered, the more relaxed you will feel because your environment and surroundings are clear. And there won't be so many distracting messes. This will make your home feel more welcome and homey, thus resulting in a clearer state of mind so that you can relax and unwind after a busy day. With the empty space, you can now leave room for decoration and make your home more enjoyable to live in. Who knows? Maybe you will want to decorate your walls with creations of your own. Creating your own art and displaying it reduces levels of cortisol, thus resulting in a relaxed mind and body. One thing that I found most agreeable to my mental health success is putting a whole bunch of positive affirmation canvases all around my main living areas. And there was one poster that I paid it forward and gave to a young gentleman that was struggling with having the application of consistent affirmations around him. And this was an item that I no longer chose to keep, and I wanted to pay it forward, and I gave it to this person as the first example and daily reminder of what and who you want to be. 5, create self-control and self-discipline. There may be a bunch of your stuff that you have become attached to, but is unnecessary to you in your life. By ridding yourself and your life of these belongings, you are teaching yourself control and discipline. It's okay if you can't get rid of it yet. In the next section, it's okay if you can't get rid of it yet. I will explain exactly how to minimize your overwhelming surroundings. A huge part of mental illness or overthinking disorder is feeling as though you are not in control. By going through the various rooms in your home, purposely getting rid of junk, you will be in control of what to get rid of, what to keep, and what to do with it in general. It can be difficult to continue with this lifestyle as time goes on and you accumulate more things. But if you do a monthly sweep, you will teach yourself discipline that can help you with other things in your life down the road. If you have lived with a bunch of stuff all your life, it may be quite difficult for you to transition to the minimalist lifestyle. Through minimalism may seem, though minimalism may seem like a big deal, it is not. You don't have to get rid of anything that you don't want to, and you don't have to throw out everything right away. Starting this minimalist life may have you overwhelmed, and so you put it off because there is so much of everything, and it may seem as though you have no idea where to start. A few things you should keep in your mind about minimalism as you go are to make clear reasons why you want to do this. And here's some examples of maybe why you may want to do this. You want to clear your mental clutter. See your spending habits. View a different way of living. Be okay with change. Be aware of yourself and your life to make the necessary changes that you need. As long as you keep this clear mind state, you will have no problems with continuing down this new journey. Start slow. Clear one room at a time. Do not overwhelm yourself, and finally make minimalism a daily habit to turn into a lifestyle. And this is just a slow process that you could take, and don't try to overwhelm yourself into rushing into being something new. One, be clear about your intentions. Understanding why you are doing this will make your success rate greater. Like, you have to really, really be on board with what's about to happen. Making a big change like this can leave you feeling sad and stressed. However, this is only temporary. So if you keep your intentions in mind during the process, it should move you forward. After everything is said and done, if you don't keep your intentions clear, it can be easy to fall back into the same habits, thus living the same unhealthy lifestyle as you did before. Some of your reasons for living this lifestyle are: A, you want to save money or get yourself out of debt. B, you wish to have more space and freedom in your home. C, you wish to spend more time with your family without the excess baggage. D, you want to feel more at peace with yourself and your surroundings. E, you want to stop overthinking, and clutter adds to that. F, you want a healthy change. 2, start with one room at a time. The second step is to pick a room. It could be any room. It may be that you want to start with all the closets first, or maybe the laundry room. It could be the kitchen or the kids' rooms. Whatever you choose, pick one, focus on it, and don't go on to something different until it's complete. At the beginning of your process, it may seem as though you have a lot of work ahead of you, and you do. To not get overwhelmed or distracted, sticking to one room or closet at a time will be your best bet. When you are in a room, look at it from a third-person perspective, or get a friend to come over and help. Stick to one corner, one dresser, one drawer, one thing at a time. And this is something I told my ex when I first got with her, because she would overwhelm herself with trying to clean all the rooms at one time. And I'm like, focus on one room at a time. Once you finish one room, decompress and then attack the next project. But don't just go into one project, stop in the middle of that, start something else, stop in the middle of that, then start something else, and then you realize that you didn't finish the other thing, and then you're totally overwhelmed by thinking that you're not finished what you're currently doing, you didn't finish the other two things you did before, and you're still in a state of mess and incomplete projects. To not get overwhelmed or distracted, sticking to one room or closet at a time will be your best bet. And I know I was just reading all that, so let's move on. 3, create a system. For some people, figuring out what to get rid of can be a hard task, so you are going to need a system to stick with. Make 3 boxes, totes, or even just piles or bags, and label them. 1 box for keep, 1 box for donation, and 1 box for throw away. Once you throw something in the boxes, do not go back and think about putting it somewhere else. This takes patience and discipline. But know that you are in control. So when you have that item in your hand, before you put it in a certain section, make sure what you have, what it means to you, whether it still holds value, doesn't hold value, and discard it into the place where you think it properly belongs, and no longer deal with it at that point, other than continuing in the process of discarding it by getting it out of your home, or if it's in the pile of to keep things, then you can figure where to organize and put it. 4, don't use paper. Living with less means no more paper instead of letters, which I was stating. If you still do that, send emails. And even with your emails, don't let them become too great. Like, go through your emails and clean out your inbox like regularly. If not every day, every other day. Mail that comes in needs to go to a specific file or folder or drawer. Just make sure it's not going to just sit there. Any type of mail can be shredded and recycled. This doesn't mean you have to go completely paperless. Just learn to be mindful regarding your paper usage. And I was stating that in the earliest analogies or references. Like, one thing is, of a great example is taxes. You know what I'm saying? What is it like? After, 5 or 7 years, like, you should get rid of all of your old taxes, before that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're really not relevant. A lot of places, they just need or require, if I'm right, the last 7 years of information. So why hold on to this endless paperwork of unnecessary information? 5, spend on adventures, not objects. You know what I'm saying? So don't spend your money on, things, but, memories. And it is encouraging memories. Let me read into our section and note if we're correct. What I mean by this is that when you are shopping for a birthday present or something for yourself, make sure it will be worth it. Instead of buying someone a card or flowers, print out a picture and buy a frame. The goal is to aim for things that are memorable and won't be forgotten. For yourself, think about the clothing you are holding and figure out where you would wear it. How many times would you wear it and what it would suit most with? If it's a new car, make sure that your other car actually needs to be replaced before just spending irrationally. So be mindful of the things you buy. Don't be wasteful into your disposable income, because that's how you wind up broke, but that's another conversation. 6, replace things. Don't add to the clutter. Once you have finished going through the rooms in your house and have stuck to the system, it is time to start thinking about the minimalist lifestyle. So when you are going out, make a list of the things you need, not want. Then figure out what needs to be replaced. I know when I go out, I spend on all the things that I need, and then there are a couple of things I want, and then in the end, I'm like, is this the time to really get this? And most times, I will put it back. And then there's that moment where I want to treat myself to something special and out of the ordinary. So then, I'll have a moment where I have an impulse buy, but I don't impulse buy regularly. Your spending should look like you are throwing something out and then replacing that item so you don't add to your stuff. And I'm going to go back into the beginning of this section so we make sure that we cover everything clear. Once you have finished going through the rooms in your house and have stuck to the system, it is time to start thinking about the minimalist lifestyle. So when you are going out, make a list of the things you need, not want. Then figure out what needs to be replaced. Your spending should look like you are throwing something out and then replacing that item so you don't add to your stuff. And you're not losing anything either. You are keeping a happy balance. While you are resisting the urge to buy the things, you will probably find things that you want. While you are resisting the urge to buy the things, you will probably find the things that you want. Think about such items this way. I am going to wait 2 weeks. If I still want it at the end of 2 weeks, I will reassess my situation. And that was the example I was giving you in my personal reference and analogy. Like, I buy all the things I need, and then I have my impulse buys, and I'm like, I really don't need this, and I know I have this other bill coming up, and I'd rather put my money towards that. But if it's still available in a couple of weeks and I still see it, like, I'll reassess the situation then. 7, start a meal plan. Food waste is a big problem in the U.S. and other parts of the world. And I know this for sure because I spent 30 years in the food service industry. And that kills me is how much food people waste. And let me tell you a quick story before, no, matter of fact, we're gonna bypass the story. So again, food waste is a big problem in the U.S. and other parts of the world. Food gets wasted because there isn't a plan in order about when you will use the food and how you're going to use it. Start by planning 3 days out of 7, then add up to 5 days out of 7. And you may find that you actually save on money. Also, you will find that your food will last longer than if you were spontaneous about it. Start looking into a recipe book, picking your meals and writing the ingredients, then add it to your grocery list. One thing that has been most helpful in my culinary experience is knowing how to turn leftovers into something else. You make a meal, let's say I make chicken and rice, with some vegetables. Let's say I bake the chicken. I do some baked or grilled chicken with some plain white rice and some vegetables. You know what I'm saying? I might eat off of that in a couple of days, and then whatever is left over from that, I'll turn that into a fried rice. You know what I'm saying? I'll just break down the chicken and cut it into small biteable pieces, and then stir fry it along with the rice and the leftover vegetables. Add some soy sauce and a little bit of fresh ginger, some minced onions and garlic, and some soy sauce if I didn't say that already, and a little bit of light sugar, and boom, you already have like a fried rice stir fry. And that's just turning over your meal. Something I just did recently was pulled pork, right? So I turned that over into enchiladas. You know what I'm saying? I bought some enchilada sauce. I didn't want to do it from scratch. It's just a little bit more tedious. But, I wound up buying some tortilla shells, sour cream, shredded cheese, and mixed all that together, kind of made a protein mix, and then put it into the shells, rolled it over, added the sauce, the cheese, baked it in the oven for a half hour. Boom, enchiladas. Turned a meal into another meal. And that really is an art, you know what I'm saying? And something I'm most grateful into learning through my 23 years in the culinary profession out of the 30 years total in food service. 8, adopt a minimalist mindset. When you adopt a minimalist mindset, you are too busy thinking about the necessary items and the most important things to buy or accumulate that you won't have the energy to think about anything else unless it's important. It's the state of mind that if you need it, you will still need it in a few weeks. If you forget about it, then you must not have needed it to begin with. Eventually, this will turn into a habit, which will then become a way of life, and it won't be so hard. When you adapt to a minimalist lifestyle, you will find as though you have more freedom and spare time on your hands to do more things. This is because you aren't wasting your days chasing down items or cleaning your house all the time. When you don't have anything to pick up, then you have the energy to do more. That makes a whole lot of sense. If you don't take care of the problem, you're always going to have these problems weighing you down. If you take care of the problem, then you no longer have the problem, and then the days forward feel most fulfilling and free. Every purchase you make, you will be able to think twice about. Every dime you spend will seem as easy as pie when you practice minimalism. You will see that your bank adds up, and you will feel much more relaxed as you scan your house of all the items you used to have that no longer bother you. This also adds free time and creates a sense of peace and serenity in the mind. No more overthinking. Imagine that. Imagine that. No more overthinking. And like I said, letting go is how you wind up letting God. By getting rid of all the unnecessary or the bad, then you are able to have and create within the good. You have to let go to let God. You know what I'm saying? In order for God's miracles to happen and work, you have to let go of the devil's work and leave behind which no longer services you, has any high value, or is still useful. It's no longer useful to you. So you need to know how to get rid of it and stop holding on to it. And that includes people too. And it doesn't matter who it is. You could still be related to the person, but you don't have to be overwhelmed by their presence in any form or fashion, whether it's over the phone or being most interactive. You don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's by your choice. And you have a choice to be free or continue to be confined. This is your neighborhood sensei, Fouché, strongly suggesting before emphatically imploring for all of you beautiful, wonderful, self-worthy, loving individuals to stay woke. Don't let them put you to sleep. But in the process, make sure you take all necessary meditative practices and procedures, including environmental change when and if necessary, to relax. And until chapter 8 in our next episode, always be prepared to take those notes. You will hear from me in about another week. Until then, be smooth in unity. One.